Welcome back to BSLIVE. In this episode, I want to share these creations of random floating panels. So basically, this is like if you can imagine like a comic books, but in 3D, 3D VR, and you want to have a lot of floating panels that's scattered randomly. So this is one of such setup. It's very simple, and once you have this, you can then simply paint or just doodle some comic books on top of this panel, right? So it's kind of nice to be able to do this very easily. And yeah, so this was actually inspired before I go deep into the setup, which is actually just pretty simple. This was actually something that I made earlier using PENZIL app and Procreate. Okay, so for Procreate, I use Procreate to do the paintbrush and just the splatter or things like that, just to make it look like a comic, but also like a graffiti kind of style. So I've been doing this lately. I think it's very nice therapy. It's kind of cute, and you can export this as USDZ AR. That panel is actually more like free flowing. I started with by using this PENZIL app on the iPad here. So by default, PENZIL app have this plane that you can doodle on, but you can also replace this with a sphere or a box. Okay, let's say you start with a box, and then you want to do some doodles. Before you doodles, maybe you want to scale. Yeah, scale the reference. Now you can lock it, and you can start drawing. But if you draw with stroke and fill, you're gonna end up with a panel that later on you can simply export into Procreate. I'll show you in a minute. Of course, I've done this before, right? So it's just like a comic books panel. You can just draw the panel first before later you fill it in, kind of like a frame. It's pretty basic. Let's say you replace this with a sphere. You can see the sphere being generated there. You can reset the sphere. You can move the sphere also. Let me, oh, okay, it's unlocked. Move it up. Let's say I'm using that sphere. Just locked it again, and I'm just gonna draw a panel. It's this is more like a freeform version. If you are doing this in Blender, you can also do that using grease pencil or curve, and then just simply convert it into plane. The nice thing about pencil is that when you after you do this, right, you do the sketching, and then you want to just simply export it. Oops. Export to for Procreate. It's gonna export it out, and you can see the panel is only one-sided, and this is also kind of interesting. You can give this a try. I will just leave it like that. You can tap to just flip the panel, but anyhow, let's just export it out. Export. So it's gonna place it under this download folder. I can then just simply share it into Procreate app. This is when the fun actually begins. Procreate brush paintings in 3D is actually something that I've been wanting, and it's in my wish list for a while. Okay, yeah, you can do that sort of thing. It's a really interesting. Yeah, you can drag and drop like that, and then you can start painting. When you're doing the painting, let's say I'm using the artistic brush. This is my favorite brush, definitely. And pick a color. You can start doodling like that. Yeah, but in this case, from PENZIL app, each of the panel is actually like a separate shapes with separate UV and separate materials. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's actually pretty interesting that way. So you can make a comic book like this way. It's really fun. I always think of it like a therapy. Is it 3D? Is it 2D? It's probably both. Probably everything. Is it VR? Well, VR is not like, if there is a glasses and like a 3D Apple Pencil, maybe this is already VR experience. It's nothing big deal, but the tools matter, you know. If there's a VR tools that allow you to do like this, then you got it there. I like it. One thing, however, when working with iPad, this still like something flat in front of you that you can physically hold. So even in VR, you might actually want to use something like an iPad, something physical. Okay, so enough talking, and yeah, but yeah, that's for the background, right? I switch to water pen. I like the feeling of water pen, and then I just simply tap and then start doodling if I want to. Yeah, maybe like drawing like a rabbit. This one, I don't know, maybe smaller brush. What does this look like a cookie? Then okay, you make it like a cookie. Yeah, this is painting it inside Procreate. Let's try actually. Okay, this is Blender. This panel is actually just a simple square plane that I instance it on this guy. Okay, so we can randomize and scale the panel. So this is more like rigid kind of panel, but you might want to do your comic book like this. You can control the scattering of the panel, and you can use random. You can be more random, end up something like this. But let's try actually with pause on this. Okay, we end up with this frame. You can further randomize the scaling, randomize the seed. You can control also, yeah, how offset it is from the panel itself. Okay, the panel is currently a sphere, but you can replace this with a cylinder or whatever shape you want it to be. This is a cylinder, obviously. So now you're gonna end up with this panel where you can just draw your 3D. Okay, sphere. Let's go back to our UV sphere, or you can use icosphere, doesn't matter. So you can also use Suzanne and just start painting, drawing on it. For now, let's keep it simple like this. Okay, if I'm happy with this. There's one thing. Okay, one thing interesting. If I convert this to mesh, okay, it disappear. We need to realize it's the instance. Convert to mesh. Okay, now this is a proper mesh. However, this doesn't have UV, which is weird because original instant have UV, but something to keep in mind. Now that this is a mesh, let me try to just export this out. We need to have UV first. Let me demonstrate very quickly. I'll go to edit mode, hit tab, F3, smart UV project. It's gonna project the UV there. So we have UV to paint on. Okay, this is UV auto-generated by Blender. So this is gonna be a single mesh surface, and maybe Procreate will like this. Be careful, not be careful. Keep in mind that this thing is also one-sided business. Okay, if you start painting from the outside, yes, you can. This is gonna be one side paint. So okay, if you want to draw from the inside, you cannot because it's the other side. It's the inside. Okay, but you can do like something really abstract, you know, like in Blender. However, the brush is quite limited unless you start making your own library of brushes. It's possible, But I still think painting is actually faster in using Procreate. I can export as USDZ. Actually, in this case, I will export as GLB first. Include selected object with geometry, apply modifier, selected objects only, save it on the desktop. Okay, I'm gonna send something through this guy to my iPad. Oh, what? Okay, distribute points. This is from Blender. It's one-sided only. Maybe I should have flipped it, or I should solidify. Okay, if you want it to be double-sided, solidify, and in the file, export GLB, selected object, modifier. Okay, export again. It's gonna update. Now it's two-sided. I think Procreate will like it a little bit better, maybe. But we might need to do the UV in order for it to work properly. Anyhow, I'll send it to my iPad. Yeah. Okay. Inside Procreate, let's do what we did earlier. Our artistic brush. We can try other brush. Okay. Interestingly enough, yeah, Procreate actually, yeah, because we use Solidify, the surface is actually becoming the inside. It's really weird that it's only painting the inside, but get used to it. Understand it that mesh surface can only have one side. If you want it to be two side, you need to solidify, and then you have another UV inside it. Anyway, I want to go inside and start painting from the inside. Okay, cool. Wow, this is actually, yeah, this might be, there's like some kind of limit. Okay, now I'm inside, on the inside. Cool. Wow, this can get a bit confusing. Let's go full screen. Something super abstract, yep. But this is also pretty cool. I am sure this could be easier in VR actually. Yeah, but I like the feel of the iPad, right? It's just physical and you can tap on it. If this is on VR, I bet it's gonna be like floating and you're moving around your arms. I don't know. I like both. I like to have iPad as well, like something physical. Inking. Switch to calligraphy water pen. Yeah, because we already have the background. They're looking kind of abstract. Now it's time to do like painting. Right. This is probably like a low resolution. Low resolution, you can see the pixel, but you have unlimited flexible canvas that you can paint on. This is pretty cool. I think you can just doodle whatever, make something really abstract. You can just make panel and make story. Oh, look at that. You can, okay, this looks green, looks like Christmas tree. You can just draw that. But really, what's really cool with Procreate, I think, is the artistic brush like Terraria or spray paints. Okay, spray paints. This is cool. I love this one. Suddenly we have like a sculpture quality, something really Unusual, very artistic. You have a lot of artistic freedom here. It's digital, I know, but you know, it's also something that you can export as AR. I say I'm happy with this, that I can just send this. I can keep working on this, but let me show you something. I'm exporting it back to my computer as USDZ. As USDZ, this is already something that you can share with your friend. Okay, it's pretty cool, pretty cool. Now I'll duplicate it, Command D, unzip, and what's we're gonna have is something that you can bring back into Blender. And let's see, file, import GLB. Yeah, actually use USDZ, import USD preview. It's gonna generate the material, etc., and you can actually observe the shader from Procreate. This is common knowledge for 3D person, but if you are like a 2D or 2D artist, this is something that you want to know as well. Okay, so it's a PBR material, base color, diffuse, metallic, and roughness. Okay, into a single shaders. Okay, why did I bring it back into Blender? Because we can do a little bit more. You can even sculpt it if you want to, but in this case, just export it out as GLB. So it's like the whole process back and forth between Blender and Procreate. Okay, using USDZ and GLB. If I go to my gallery, virtual gallery, vrland.io, I really like this actually. Yeah, back to this guy. Okay, let me show you. Okay, this is the artwork that you saw earlier. Let's edit, upload our GLB. It's only 2.2 megabyte. It's simple, single texture material. If you are using PENZIL app and then just export it into Procreate, you might get a larger size texture, etc. That something you need to know. Okay, this is the medium quality. I can just drop it. Yep, we have our artwork there. Let's close this. You can observe it. You can go inside. Okay, this is enter the mind of, enter some crazy mind. Okay, the cool thing, I like VRLand because you can just drop anything. You can put a video also, I think, and some artwork with music. Maybe this can be animated and interactive in the future. I don't know. You can scale it. It's like a dome. Yeah, but I like it floating also. Okay, this is okay. Close. Now we are inside. Right click. Now we are like in this mode, first person view. This might be confusing for your brain if you are not using VR. Sometimes it can be, you can have motion sickness if you're in that mode, but if you're in third person view, it's okay. So okay, this is the artwork. Okay, floating artwork. We started with a geometry nodes, and then, you know, the whole process, the whole business, and then we have this canvas, floating canvas, where you have freedom to paint using Procreate. Now I'm floating. Yeah, all right. So yeah, that's basically it. Another things that you can try yourself. Hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.